Chapter 6 is Season 3 live event. We are going to destroy the Death Star. The help of Midas and the heroes, we are going to sneak inside. They're going to lead us to the heart of this spaceship. Just like how we did during the Skyfire event when we destroyed the UFO mothership. All we had to do at the time was go to the central part of the ship, which was the room where they kept all of the cubes, and just destroy it. You're gonna have to do the same thing on the ship as well. Find the heart of the ship, destroy it, and the whole thing will come crashing down. This mission is going to be extremely difficult because the Death Star is probably 100 times bigger than the UFO mothership. Because remember, this thing is almost the size of the moon, and it has the power to destroy an entire planet. Finding its main room is going to be extremely difficult. Also, it is one of the most heavily guarded spaceship that's ever built. It is equipped with a bunch of weapons, guards, and force field as well. But Midas and Heroes has a very secret plan that can destroy the entire Death Star. In this video, I'm going to tell you guys exactly what is going to happen in this Chapter 6 of Season 3 live event. So please leave a like, subscribe, and use code SMJM. Death Star is about to be destroyed at the end of Chapter 6 of Season 3 because Midas and the heroes have a plan. See, when Midas arrived on this island, you can tell he was sent by someone to complete a mission. He somehow knew about the arrival of Palpatine and the Galactic Empire. It looks like he received this intel all of a sudden because remember in Chapter 5, before Midas left the island, he had just escaped prison, and we all thought he was going to help us defeat Zeus, but he doesn't. The very first thing he does is takes back control of his beloved marigold yacht, grabs his crew, and heads out. Before he does that, he tells us a very important information. He says his dream is too big for this small island. He's going somewhere far away. He wasn't kidding. Just a day later, he was gone. At the start of Chapter 6, he just shows up on the island. Remember, he said Chapter 5 map was too small for his dream. But why is he here? Because the Chapter 6 island isn't any bigger than the Chapter 5. And it was quite clear that he wasn't here just for a holiday. He starts recruiting people, teaming up with his old enemies like Jonesy. That was very strange because Midas hates Agent Jones. Because remember back in Chapter 2, Season 2, Midas tried to create the Doomsday device to destroy the Fortnite loop. But Jonesy sabotaged his plan by unleashing a giant tsunami on the island. Not just that, banished him from Chapter 2 island as well. The fact that Midas is willing to work with Joan tells us that this situation is extremely serious. Very first thing Midas does after recruiting people, he tells everyone to go find this box. Inside, you will find a device which can detect 0-point energy. And obviously, that led us to the portal. But we already knew that because Jade told us about the evil presence inside of the spirit realm has the 0 point. But it wasn't the location of the 0-point shard that caught our attention. It was this box. We have seen this box before all the way back in Chapter 2 during the Star Wars live event. The Jedi showed up on the island. They handed us a bunch of lightsabers, and those lightsabers were in this box, or at least the box that looks very similar to this. Now, how did Midas end up with this box? Now, we think that Midas might be working with the Jedis. If you guys don't know, Jedis are the good guys from Star Wars, and they have been fighting with the Galactic Empire, the bad guys, for like hundreds of years. Emperor Palpatine, the leader of the Galactic Empire, has been trying to completely eliminate the Jedis, but he has been unsuccessful so far. I feel like the Jedis somehow got an intel that the Death Star is headed towards the Fortnite island. They hired a person who knows Fortnite very well. Midas tells him that if he doesn't doesn't do anything about this, this might be the end of Fortnite. Because the Death Star, as I mentioned before, can destroy an entire planet. A tiny Fortnite island would be like squashing a little bug. Midas agrees to help and shows up on the Oninoshima Island. Recruits a bunch of people. He starts working with people like Agent Jones. And you see, working with Jones is very important because Midas needs Jones if he wants this plan to be a success. Because to complete this mission, Midas needs 0 points. And one thing about Agent Jones, he knows a lot of information about the 0 point. He's worked with it for hundreds of years while he was in the Imagine Order. Also, he has dealt with a huge organization creatures like the Lost Reality, the Imagine Order. The thing about Midas is that he is not telling us exactly what he wants to do with the 0 point. First when he showed up, but now all of that information has now been revealed. If you go speak with Midas, he says, yes, that's true. I am looking for the 0 point shard. I won't deny I have my own private intentions, but right now I think we're aligned in purpose. What exactly is Midas's plan? Midas wants to blow up the Death Star. That's right, and the only way he can do this is by sneaking inside of the ship and do it from the inside because no weapon can destroy the Death Star from the outside. One, because it is too massive, and also it has a lot of protection, like I mentioned, like force field, bunch of weapons. Also, the fact that he has not told anyone is because if Emperor Palpatine knows that there is a plan happening to destroy his beloved Death Star, in just few minutes, he can completely obliterate the island. But why does he need the 0 point? Because 0 point is not just a very powerful weapon, but it also can teleport you. Since the 0 point is a very unique object that a lot of people don't really have much information on, that means this teleportation would be undetectable even by Emperor Palpatine. Now, we know that a huge live event has been scheduled to take place during Chapter 6 of Season 3. In fact, the whole of Season 3 is going to be a build-up for this huge live event. There are 5 different stages for the full live event. It is all going to kick off on May the 2nd. It is called the Imperial Takeover. We'll see the arrival of the Galactic Empire. We'll see the Star Destroyers arrive on the island. Giant robots and aircrafts will attack the Fortnite island. Just a few days later, May the 8th, is titled The Pull of the Force, is going to be the arrival of all the good guys. At this point, we will start to see this plan start to move because the people that hired Midas will arrive on the island, the Jedis. To help, we will see the arrival of the Mandalorians May the 22nd. Mandalorians will most likely distract the bad guys while the Jedis and Midas execute this plan. Now, May the 29th, it is titled Star Destroyer Bombardment. This is going to be a very dark time for Fortnite Island. We will start to see Emperor Palpatine, after finding out the Jedis and the Mandalorians has been attacking his men, starts bombarding the island. Destruction and chaos will be everywhere. And then the final saga will be here on June the 7th, titled Death Star Sabotaged. And we're not quite sure exactly how Midas is going to get the 0 point shard that he's going to use to teleport inside of the Death Star. Maybe at some point we will see the evil presence show up on the island. We defeat it and take the 0 point shard. But according to Agent Jones, he says there are more than one 0 point shards on this island. I've got a feeling that the 0 point shard might be inside of this statue underneath the Baron's mansion. Either way, Midas will get the 0 point shard. They will teleport inside of the Death Star, find the heart of the ship, and destroy it completely. And this is going to be the main live event. Like I mentioned before, this is going to be a very similar event to the Skyfire. Lots of information are coming out every day, so please leave a like, subscribe, and use code SMJM if you you want to help me out. And let me know your guys' theories in the comment section below. Peace out.